Back inside the Proactive Studios with Dominic McCann, the CEO of Btl Group. Dominic, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Btl Group. What is it all about?
So we are a listed company in the TSXV, and we are a technology foundation platform company. We're roughly 30 people, and we are the only listed pure play technology company focusing on blockchain.
So blockchain is becoming a buzzword now. We're hearing a lot about it. Explain to us a little bit about blockchain.
So blockchain is very famous for things such as cryptocurrencies, as we've all seen a huge growth in interest from the markets over the past, especially really in the past couple of years. The blockchain is a very clever concept, and it's effectively, it's like an internet with more built-in robustness that can enable people to trade without necessarily have to know or trust each other. So the concept of blockchain outside of crypto is a really exciting future of how it can be applied to address many, many problems for businesses and people alike.
Do you need blockchain for cryptocurrency, or do they need each other to work?
So crypto needs a blockchain
Yes.
to run on, but a blockchain as a technology doesn't need crypto, and that's what we are pioneering. We are not building a coin or a cryptocurrency on top of that. We don't need mining, therefore we're not associated with all these crazy energy consumption figures that we're seeing. This is much more about a technology and how it can be adopted to increase efficiency, reduce costs.
Now, when you build out your company platform, last week will be probably one of your most significant dates in history. Tell us what happened last week.
So we launched our first version of Interbit, and it's very much a development test environment. We want to get a lot of feedback from developers, from small businesses, from large enterprise, from people who are just interested really in building just better applications. So the whole concept of blockchain, we do utilize a blockchain as part of our platform, but that's not everything. Blockchain can enable applications to be more secure, the way people interact with each other, and ultimately just make your experience and your data more private.
So what will Interbit do for a company?
So the application that sits on Interbit is effective. Blockchain should be invisible.
Yeah.
There's a huge focus on it because it's an interesting concept. It's not a big red button that you press and it fixes everything. It will sit behind the scenes very much like we saw the internet do, but it addresses those levels of privacy that people need these days. So the ability to share, the ability for a company, the ability to transact quicker and safer, as some of the pilots we've seen with large energy companies that we've worked on, really does rip out a huge amount of cost and improves efficiency.
When a lot of companies right now, when they're dealing with large transactions, email is a big part of it. A lot of people concerned about cybersecurity. How does Interbit solve that problem?
Well, the beauty of Interbit is that data can be distributed, or transactions or records, but not copied. So on the blockchain, you can all be agreeing on a certain transaction or a remittance or an energy trade, but that data does not have duplicates of the copy. You can sit on that blockchain and agree that block of a transaction, so you have that secure system of record that's very safe, but you do not have that duplication of data in two records.
Now, to get to where you were last week, obviously a lot of things had to happen, one of which you had to test a lot of things. Visa was an interesting test run that you did with them. Tell us how you and Visa worked together.
Well, Visa was trying to pioneer an interbank settlement platform. So what a use case, right? It's huge, a huge amount of transactions per second, inherently very efficient. The amount of technology that banks and energy companies have had to adopt to innovate has become a bit of a hindrance because of the integration of these systems, compliance, where's the data going, tracking. So companies are looking for a better way to transact with one another. And we learned a huge amount from Visa from building that interbank settlement. And the key lesson for us, and a huge amount of what's gone into Interbit, was that existing blockchain technology could not provide the level of privacy that it required. So we started out actually using open source technology such as Ethereum to try and spike that technology and build a platform. Now we quickly learned that it couldn't offer the level of privacy that was required for these banks. We therefore decided as a company that we had to effectively invent something that was better. And that's why we built Interbit. We've written it in a common programming language. We've taken the clever concept of blockchain and we've made it a lot faster and a lot more secure for banks and industry and developers to adopt.
I think that's an interesting point you talk about, the way it was written, because a lot of companies, the last thing they want to do is have a whole new system brought in. But the technology and the platform is an ability to what they have already to add to that. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So porting applications into Bit just makes that application better.
Right.
You don't have to have a complete rewrite. As I say, it's common programming language. Effectively, we just wanted to make Interbit easy to adopt and easy to use, because existing blockchain as a concept is quite complicated, and I think people are really struggling to embrace it and adopt it because, one, it's associated with cryptocurrencies, and
right.
that's a whole world we're all trying to get our heads around. But secondly, there's never been a platform or a company that owns and runs a platform for you to start building your own content on top. So we're not just a technology, we're a company behind this as well, and we're very much looking, there's got to be someone on the end of the phone to pick up for a BP or a Visa to phone to talk about the platform and what they do next with this.
How does this aid a company as far as cost savings are concerned?
So to use an example with our One Office project, where we're taking something quite straightforward like a gas trade between companies in European gas trading, effectively eliminates a large part of the back office processing. So instead of the proprietary systems where each party would have to go through into various data sets to then reconcile manually after a number of weeks or months, that's a bit of a headache for the regulator. It's
right.
a bit of a headache for the company. So when you have something like a blockchain where the two traders can agree that immutable contract at point of transaction, it effectively eliminates a huge amount of cost for the back office.
Can it be adapted for small businesses up
Absolutely.
to as large businesses
Absolutely.
as you want to go?
And again, the reason for the designing and architecting the way we have with Interbit is it could be one person building a coffee blockchain, or it could be a large enterprise running hundreds of thousands of private chains with their suppliers or their ecosystem.
Yeah. How's the reaction been so far at Interbit? It's only been a short time, obviously, but you've obviously been talking about leading up to it. What's the reaction been to other companies, other people in the industry?
So there's a huge amount of interest as to where we do sit, and the one question I do get asked is, well, who are your competitors?
Yeah.
Is it things like Ethereum, open source software out there? There's I think that's an $80 billion market capitalization now, Ethereum. So absolutely, we would love to see people, validating Interbit versus Ethereum and realizing the benefits of that platform. We see the developer community starting to really embrace it and feedback as to the good points. And I think as we launch something that's effectively new to the world, we're going to learn an awful lot. So we've been, beavering away for 2 years building this thing, and we've run big projects and pilots such as Visa and One Office, and learned an awful lot. But it's going to be fascinating to see how the world embraces it.
Yeah, is that the fun part or the scary part in knowing that you may have to pivot now and then?
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
a little bit of both, and we've got a good company structure and good backers, and I don't see any pivot in what we're doing. I think we're on the right track, and we have absolutely every faith we've made the right decisions in how we've designed Interbit to do what it says.
Now, you're a relatively new CEO, so how has that transition been for you and in leading this, not only a new company, but new technology and the whole bit, and a new job? Has it been a lot of fun for you?
Yeah, it's kind of like being strapped to a rocket ship with my shoelaces undone is how I described it to a friend the other night. It's been an incredible journey, and certainly being a public company, one of the first listed blockchain companies, has been a huge learning curve as well. I bring skills around really building the company, and often for technology, it's not what you're buying, it's how you're buying. And I've built teams around the world to really, culturally align with companies and what their real business value is and why they'd adopt this technology. I think often technology is just sold in the wrong way for features and functions, and there's 1,000 companies go beneath the waves every year, as you know, because they just can't get the concept of where the value is with the technology. So I very much look forward to starting to talk more about how we've taken these large oil consortiums and energy companies and financial services companies to embrace this technology.
Are you looking now for companies to become investors with you as well? Are you looking for companies to partner with you on projects? What's the next 18 months look like for your company?
The big focus to get the adoption of Interbit, optimal is partners. So we can grow so much as a blockchain company. We've very much handpicked some ferociously intelligent technical people who have effectively pioneered what this technology should and could be. So now it's all about, well, how do we make it easy, and how do we have a very rigid and fast adoption program for a partner to start speaking to their customers about all their business problems, and Interbit being a foundation to start building these applications on. So we've got a big focus on that, on our partner enablement program globally. And secondly, marketing. You know, what is blockchain? How can it help you day to day? What does it mean to the person in the street versus business?
Right.
So the messaging of what Interbit is and why we built it is very key to us now.
And that's obviously doing things like this, but trade shows, getting out, talking to people, that's the most important thing.
We've been invited to the Hackathon at Consensus in 2 weeks in New York, which is going to be very exciting. We're up against Hyperledger and Ethereum and these great technologies, so it's going to be fun to go up against that and again learn where we're good and to get the feedback from the external communities. And we'll be looking for a number of events around the globe this year to start getting the word out.
Well, it's a very interesting few weeks for you, and also the next few years as well. Dominic, thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
All right, Dominic McCann, the CEO of Btl Group.